So can you just give some insights as to what the current state of the industry in terms of women taking up courses in STEM fields? Do you see a lot more interest now? Yeah, if you can please share that, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I get this question a lot, actually. And if you look at the research worldwide and statistics, it starts from school, right? So in schools, in high schools, we see there is emphasis on STEM nowadays, and we see both boys and girls taking more courses and earning more credit in terms of math and science over time. The girls actually achieve higher GPAs on average in math and science. So that's interesting. But then when it comes time for placement for university, we see that in the advanced placement test in math and science, we see boys performing better. So even though the girls had better grades in school. And that's interesting because that's just based on the belief, the internal belief. Boys typically think that they are good in math, so they actually tend to do better in advanced placement tests versus the girls, you know. So then moving on in terms of university enrollment and so on, so women unfortunately are still less likely than men to declare a STEM major. So when you look at women's representation among different STEM majors, we see that it has changed over time, it has improved, but it varies by field. So we see, for example, a clear improvement in female student enrollment in areas like biological science, earth science, chemistry. We see some moderate improvement in physics and engineering, and fluctuation in computer science and math. So like the numbers go up and down. It's not like clear where's the trend. Now, moving to the last step, which is the workplace, women are still underrepresented in many science and engineering occupations. And you have about 75% of working women clubbed and clustered in 5 main types of occupations, like nursing, admin and clerical jobs, caring, childcare, sales, non-skilled manual work. So these are the current positions that 75% of women work in. So we are still in the workplace experiencing a gender imbalance, with women like underrepresented in many fields like STEM fields and overrepresented in other fields. And we see pay discrimination, with women getting paid less than their male counterpart for doing the same job. And of course, we have this glass ceiling where women enter the field, but very few of them reach leadership or senior leadership position. So I hope this gives you a good lay of the land in terms of where we are in terms of STEM.
Yes, it does. However, at least do you at least see some like growing interest from, you know, female students in terms of taking up courses that would lead them to a more technical field?
We do see, so what I was talking about before are actually the global statistics worldwide. From my experience here in the region, in the UAE, for example, we have very good female representation actually in the classrooms for girls studying engineering or computer science or science in general and math. So there is a clear interest here in the society for women to start taking on these roles. And I believe the UAE is kind of unique in the region that there is really movement for empowering women. So you see women who are ministers, you know, sitting at the table and having a voice and affecting change. And so this kind of empowerment of women gives they're good role models for the young girls who then aspire to do the same thing. So I think the situation in the region, say the GCC and the UAE in specific, is more encouraging than other places in the world.
So how important do you think is the collaboration between academic institutions and, you know, technology companies in enabling diversity and inclusion in the tech industry?
I mean, both academic institutions and companies have a major role to play so that we have a more diverse and inclusive workforce in the tech field. So, for example, one of the things that can be considered is actually visibility of female leaders in the tech industry is extremely important. Mm-hmm. And because when you expose young girls to these role models, right, it affects them deeply. They start believing, oh, if they can achieve that, why can't I? I can also achieve the same thing and aspire and succeed. And I think this actually fights the negative stereotypes and normalizes the notion that women can work in STEM and excel. So from the industry side, if you have female role models, female leaders in the tech industry, these people need to be visible, have a voice, go out there, talk to the younger generation and inspire them. That is one side. From schools' point of view, I think that it's really imperative that schools infuse school curriculums with STEM activities that would dispel the myth that, science and technology is difficult or hard to achieve. Because when you speak to the students, most of them would say, no, coding is hard. Math and science is difficult. I don't think this is for me. But when you engage them in fun activities and they actually do things by their hand and they see that it's achievable and it's interesting and they can do it, it changes their mindset. It changes their mentality that this is achievable and attainable. Why did I think that it was hard and I couldn't go into there? So we do a lot of these things where I personally go to schools, for example, talk to the students about STEM and answer their questions or show them or do some practical activities with them so that they can get engaged and try it out and make an informed decision when they apply for university and college. Also, in terms of, say, universities and in general, or even companies, I think we need to be actively recruiting females, whether they're students or employees, to ensure this equality and diversity of the workforce. Recruiting just one type of individual from the society is very monotonic and it gives you just one skill set. But the society is so rich and so diverse, Why are we not tapping into this richness and these abilities and this diversity of skill sets so we get all the different points of view, all the different skill sets that actually naturally complement each other? And then finally, maybe just offering some scholarships and exciting training opportunities to girls in STEM would entice them, because if you enable them financially to study, if you give them training opportunities in companies where they get to be in the work fields, work with others and learn and succeed, this will definitely have a huge impact on the diversity and inclusion in the tech field.
Just looking at the industry now in general, the technology industry now in general, apart from encouraging diversity, a big push that many players in the industry is focusing on is sustainability. And in fact, this year for International Women's Day, the UN's theme is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. So from your perspective, how do you think can women lead the charge in terms of addressing big issues such as climate crisis?
Yeah, that's a great question and definitely a very important topic. So I think that in many parts of the world, women actually have the traditional role as primary caregivers to families and communities. And the United Nations estimates that 80% of those who have been impacted by climate change are women. Mm-hmm. So that positions them in the front line of the climate change battle, And I think that women are uniquely situated to become agent of change. How they do that, there is a variety of ways. So we see across the world, from boardrooms to policymakers, to communities, to scientists, to activists, different women at different calibers and stages are using their voice to take leadership and call for action on climate change. So I think their main role is bringing awareness, being visible, talking about the issue, mobilizing forces, creating action for change. Women are very good at getting things done. So you see examples from the very young Greta Thunberg, who's 15, 16 years old, talking to millions of people around the world and going around the world in events, to Ann Simpson, who's in finance and raising billions of dollars to urge change, to actresses like Ellen Page, who's bringing awareness through her art and feature movies, to Sunita Nareen, who's an advocate and has an impact on environmental policies. These are just very, very few examples of amazing, fantastic women around the world who don't shy away, who use their voice and their power to effect change in the battle on climate change.
Yeah, thank you so much. I guess the most powerful line in your response is like, women get things done.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
I completely 100% agree with that.
Yes, definitely.
So, just to close, just to conclude our wonderful, great discussion. So what advice would you give to younger generations of women who are aspiring to be future leaders, not only in the tech industry, but in the society in general?
Yeah. Again, and a question that I get asked a lot in the different speeches that we give and meetings. So I have a couple of advices for young women and young girls who are aspiring to be future leaders. I would say the first advice is focus on yourself and on growing and learning, and really ignore any negative comments or negative stereotypes you might encounter. All of this is noise, Mm-hmm. You need to focus on you, who you are, where are you today, and where you want to be in the future. This is one main advice. Another one is focus. Have a laser sharp focus on your future and where you want to reach. And don't let anyone tell you what you can or can't do. Their perception of you is not reality. That's just their perception. You define what you can or can't do. Another advice is that I learned personally through experience is you really need to be proactive and create your own opportunities. If you're waiting for people to give you opportunities on a silver platter, it's never going to happen. You're going to wait a long time and be disappointed. But you actually need to create your own opportunities. I truly believe that women bring a lot to the table when it comes to creativity, empathy, ability to get things done, as we just spoke about. So why not use these characteristics as a huge advantage to have an impact? Show your value through the results and outcomes of what you do. At the beginning, people might dismiss you and say, hey, I don't think she can do that. She's not capable, not intelligent enough, not focused enough. Again, that's their perception, not the reality. I think when you show result and outcome and impact, the results of your work will speak for themselves. They will have no choice but to acknowledge you, A last advice, which I think is very important, especially for young people, is find a good female role model, a mentor, someone who's supportive, who cares about your success, and who would advise you along the way. It can be a long and bumpy journey towards the top of our success and in the industry in general. Everyone, all of us go through challenges and ups and downs, but just having a mentor who's sincere, who really cares about you and kind of guide you through this journey can have a huge impact on people continuing the journey or, giving up along the way. So I hope these words of wisdom help young people.
Yes, definitely. I'm sure it will. And just as a quick follow-up as well, because you mentioned, one of your advice is for women to find a good role model. Who is your role model?
So honestly, my main role model is my mom. She's an amazing, fantastic engineer who was juggling so many things, family, and also studying and working at the same time. She's a very strong female role model that taught me from a young age that you can do anything that you want. You are the only one who put limits on what you can achieve. Nobody else will put. And she also raised, in our family, just me and one brother. And it was interesting that she raised me to believe that you can even do better than him. He's not gonna be doing better than you. So that actually led me to succeed in school and also always be the top of my class and my cohort. Actually, my brother was the one working hard to catch up to me and then what I could do. So I think from a young age, it was her that, pushed me into reaching my life. And until this day, she's older than age and just very active, she doesn't shy from anything. Anything is possible, pretty much type of mentality. So she's one of my main role models. Of course, in addition to other role models in the society that we see every day that, you know, succeed and achieve, and you just admire them for what you do, and you say, we want more people like you guys.